Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'd like to talk about the month of April, and today it is April 7th, which is the new moon. And this is a very significant new moon because the new moon is occurring in Pisces. And this is what we call the yearly chart in Vedic astrology. What I mean by that, when we have the new moon come together in the sign of Pisces, this is because the beginning of the Vedic sidereal zodiac is in Pisces. This new moon will depict the entire year of what's to come. So this is called the yearly chart. Western astrologers look at Aries as the beginning of the zodiac, so they look at when there's the new moon in Aries as to depict what the year will involve and what to expect. But sidereally, the beginning of the zodiac is in Pisces. So the new moon in Pisces will occur relatively around March 15th or March 14th to April 14th. And within there, when we have the new moon, it will occur in Pisces. This is the chart to look at for the predictions of what to expect for the entire year. But first of all, I'd like to talk about what is going on right now in April. And today is the new moon, which is very, very powerful. And I want you to know with this new moon chart, we have Uranus, the planet of sudden, unexpected change. The planet that is called the Great Awakener is conjunct this new moon. It is within a few degrees. So this represents that throughout this year, and particularly this month, we will have some unexpected uprisings and events that will cause pretty much chaos. And more importantly than even that, this is the month that Mars turns retrograde. It will turn retrograde on April 17th. And it will station. In other words, when a planet is turning retrograde, it's stopping. In its forward motion, it stops and then it goes backwards. So stationing is when it's relatively almost still, and this makes a great impact. This degree that Mars is stationing is 14 degrees of Scorpio. And I have made reference to this degree because around 14 to 16 degrees of Scorpio is where the fixed star Antares is. Antares is the star of war. It is in the claw of the scorpion. And throughout history, this has been the star that the ancients have noted in terms of outbreaks of major war and violence. This is a star of violence. This is a star of anger. And as you look around in the world, you can see so much violence and anger. What is this all about? People are so unhappy with the results they are getting in their lives. And also, Saturn has been in Scorpio since November of 2014. So now Mars is coming together with Saturn. And this year, they will come together and be exact by degree around the 23rd of August. And what you're going to find is between now and August, things are going to build. Things are going to become more intense. If you can imagine the intensity of the world affairs and events that are going to transpire in the year of 2016. I get that there's going to be some kind of catastrophic event. I know that this is the year of the turning point of minds and consciousness. It's all over the heavens and the stars. It's telling us something. The signs are here, and we must wake up. This month, we still have the Jupiter and Rahu together in the sign of Leo. They're together. Rahu can really intensify things and sometimes make people very fearful. So Rahu can deal with fear, and Jupiter can magnify things. while at the same time we have Saturn aspecting Jupiter, which is very intense, and this is making a downturn spiral that's beginning now with the economy. But watch around the time that we have Mars and Pluto station to go retrograde. This is April 17th. This is really an important time to pay attention to. Pluto is the planet. I know that the astronomers say it's not a planet, but let me tell you, I've worked with this planet my entire career as an astrologer, and I know its effects. Planetoid, whatever. This is a point in the heavens that causes great disruptions and explosions. Let me remind you, when we discovered Pluto, that was when atomic energy came into being. It was around the 1930s and 1940s that the discovery of Pluto. Whenever these outer planets have been discovered, whatever they are about are brought into conscious awareness into our lifetimes. For example, when Uranus was discovered, it was the time of the Industrial Revolution. That's what it brought about, inventions. Neptune came into being, and photography and film came into being. Pluto, when it was discovered and came into being, deals with atomic energy and explosions. This year, we must be very careful to avoid any kind of nuclear explosions because they are very likely. Uranus has been squaring Pluto for a long time, for the last few years or more, and this square has really made people rebel against organized society, organized governments that take control away from the people. The people want their control back. And this even goes for the breakdown of organized religion. Anything that creates a big control over the people. The people are rebelling. They want their freedom. This is around the world. So we have the Pluto-Uranus square that's been transpiring for quite some time. They're very tight one right now, within a few degrees. They're being triggered by the Saturn-Mars coming together, creating the violence, creating the anger. And then we have the Jupiter-Rahu that are coming together, plus Saturn squaring them. What is that creating? It's creating great fear, and people are afraid of the economy. Things are changing rapidly, and because of the anger, because of the violence, so much is occurring this month. And Pluto stationing the same day that Mars stations is very significant. Watch around the 17th of April. Now, we also have the full moon, which whenever we have the new moon, which is April 7th, it's like a new beginning. It's a new start of something. So also, because we have Uranus so close to this new moon, be aware that there's going to be major earth changes like earthquakes and sudden events that shake up the world, but storms, violent storms, floods, tsunamis, earthquakes, all of this will be in effect for the next month or so. But as we come to the full moon, which is April 22nd, this is when there's going to be light shed on a lot of the ill and deceptive doings of major government officials and leaders. This goes for every country in the world. There are things that are being revealed. And also, as we look at the fact that K2 is coming so close to Neptune, this K2 deals with our spirituality. It deals with things beyond this world, and it also deals with losses. So through great loss, people will start to seek their inner knowing and spirituality. And how can we overcome these difficult times? It is through our inner knowing, into connecting to that divine force that's within all of us, and trusting, having faith that we will be protected. Of course, I'm not saying be careless, I'm saying be careful, but to have the utmost trust in our faith and not be controlled by fear is the way to transform through these very, very difficult and profound times that we chose to be born in. So another thing that I want to make everyone aware of is Mercury will go retrograde. Mercury's going to go retrograde by the 28th of this month. It will be retrograde for approximately 20 days, 20 to 21 days, 3 weeks. During this time, rest assured that anything to do with communications will have a breakdown. Computers, the internet, telephones, and don't forget travel. Travel will be very difficult during this period of Mercury retrograde. It will be retrograde in the sign of Aries sidereally, and Aries is ruled by Mars, so there's a violence that's attached to this Mercury retrograde. And if I could revert back to the new moon chart for April, which is the yearly chart, I want you to know that this chart is very, very powerful in terms of the changes that will transpire in our world because of the fact that Uranus is so close to this new moon. And I want you to know that when I plug in the longitude and the latitude for Washington, D.C. of the USA, this is a very, very significant chart. And I must say, with great hesitation, I want to say that the United States has one of the most difficult yearly charts that I've ever seen, because the Mars-Saturn conjunction goes into the 8th house, which the 8th house is the house of endings. And this Mars-Saturn conjunction, remember, will cause extreme frustration, because remember, Mars is the planet that wants to go forward as fast as it can, but Saturn wants to pull back and go as slow as it can. Many astrologers have always said the Mars-Saturn conjunction is like going down the street with one foot on the accelerator and one on the brake. It's frustrating. You can't get anywhere. So you will be feeling frustration and anger throughout this period of Mars coming together with Saturn. And particularly this month, it's going to become the most intense because of the stationing position of Mars. Mars is action. We can't go forward when it's stationing. So all of us are in this place of anger and frustration, and don't take it out on your partner, because that's what we tend to do. And this creates a lot of discord and fighting in our life. But going back to the United States, with this Mars and Saturn in the 8th house, there's going to be delays and frustration. Things are not going to go forward for this country. And furthermore, the new moon conjunct Uranus lands in the 12th house of this chart. The 12th house means secret enemies. It means things that are unknown. And it can mean places that are secret, that there could be attacks. And so therefore it could deal with the underground, things like subways, but it also deals with Mercury type issues, because in this chart, when I pulled up this new moon chart, we have Aries, 8 degrees of Aries rising on the ascendant. And Mercury is exactly 8 degrees of Aries in this chart. So it represents Mercury affairs are going to be an issue, which is travel. So I get, just to sum it all up, there's going to be travel problems. There could be attacks on airlines, any form of mass transportation, trains, buses, airlines, subways, anything, but it's hidden. It will come unexpectedly, Uranus, sudden explosive events, and the places that I see most vulnerable are in the United States, but particularly the East Coast, and I get that Washington, D.C., around this area is most vulnerable. So Please be aware. This is a very turbulent month and things are just beginning. It will be a lead up till next fall when I see even more violence and turbulence that will spin off of all this, and the economy and the presidential elections will be chaotic and may not even occur with all of the trends that I see happening. And then when we get in 2017, watch Saturn. Saturn hovers around the last and final degrees of Scorpio and the early degrees of Sagittarius. The last degrees of water and the first degrees of fire are called Gandanta. Gandanta literally means drowning, which can mean there will be a lot of floods and storms, but it means that there is a standpoint and things will slow down because of the mass calamity that I think is created prior to that. So we will talk for many more hours concerning what is in effect throughout the time span of the next few years. But for right now, be aware we are starting a very turbulent time in the year of 2016. And with that, I'd like to close. If you would like more information or want a chart reading, you can always go to my website, which is galacticcenter.org. Thank you.